The most outstanding feature about television is the tremendous variety of...
Stay home and stay safe, y'all. Nick Walters, Fox 16.
The cream of the crop in high school wrestling have been crowned. The cherry on top, Little Rock Catholic head coach Paul Mammarelli joins us in studio.
Excited about this time of the year.
Absolutely, and one reason to be excited is Razorbacks basketball, but the other day they didn't make us very excited because they had 2 straight wins, they were riding high, and now they're back in the dumps. Telling by this image, you already know what happens, but let's see how they got there.
It's been a historic week for sports, historically bad.
Look, we all know it's a tough time for sports right now. No basketball state finals, no March Madness, no Summer Olympics. That means no trophies, rings, and medals. But here's something to cheer Hog fans up, a big-time award for a future big man in red.
This year's wrestling state championship tournament was unlike any other. That's because it was the first time there was an all-girl division. But one young lady chose to still compete with the guys, and she won. From hugs to dog piles, lots of emotion out of him and his players on Saturday. So let's hear what he had to say about semis, state, and the whole season.
Mason Jones has been electric, but let's face the facts. Arkansas's chances at cracking the NCAA tournament look mighty slim. But if there's any way to do it, it's winning out all the way through the SEC tourney. So today's season finale at Texas A&M isn't just any other road game.
We got a fun show ahead, highlighted by the unbelievable path of a Razorbacks walk-on. It's a feel-good story that you won't want to miss.
You might not think a student with Down syndrome hangs out with the football players. Well, this one does. From lunch to pep rallies, inclusion has changed this kid's life. And it's thanks to the push for awareness and acceptance at Joe T. Robinson Athletics. We got all sorts of looks at this one, just nasty. And the Hogs got to feel gross too because they go on to lose 77-69. He's always creative with celebrations, and he's also creative with passes too. Check this out. A steal, and then an in-between pass between the legs. Ben Coopet Jr. finishes it off. Marquise Noel is vying for Sunbelt Player of the Year. The 5'7" guard's motto is heart over height. Noel can know well of one thing. He's got Darrell Walker's vote. Moore back in the plate. He sends it skyward. A 2-run shot puts the Hogs lead out of reach. Nicola March nearly can't flush, but the ball falls the right way. Crowd goes wild, and so does the bench as the buzzer sounds and makes it official. These Little Rock Trojans clinch their title as Sun Belt champs. It's the first time the Trojans will finish the regular season atop the league since 2015-16. And it comes 121 days since being ranked second to last in Sun Belt. This isn't your everyday turnaround. This is going worst to first. The first Trojans year under Darrell Walker, that was tough sledding. Little Rock finished dead last in conference standings. A year later, being the cream of the crop in Sun Belt is an accomplishment that the team worked for, but at one point couldn't even imagine was possible.
The coronavirus pandemic has forced the cancellation of all conference tournaments, including the SEC and even March Madness. Arkansas finished off their season with a win over Vanderbilt. What was your takeaway with the Razorbacks, how they finished the season? And the Razorbacks aren't the only team at Arkansas who are hurting right now because you have the Little Rock Trojans, first seed in Sun Belt tournament. They went down there, couldn't even play. Got canceled. What was your impression of that? Yeah, what a season for those guys, and Darrell Walker being Sun Belt Coach of the Year, very well deserved.
Yes,
so we can't wait to see next season how they make that next step and hopefully even still being first seed.
Johnny Rice, head coach of the state's top-ranked high school basketball team, North Little Rock. Johnny's been the head coach of the Charging Wildcats since 2012 and has won 4 state titles. That includes a three-peat from 2013 to 2015. Your team is ranked first in the state. So how do you guys prove it night in and night out?
Our senior leadership has been well.
And luckily you guys have a great underclassman with the name of Bryson Warren. He's a freshman. He's an SEC offer of 2 teams already, the Razorbacks and Texas A&M. What do you see in him that college coaches do? And he's not the only awesome underclassman you guys have. Sophomore Khalil Ware, 6'10" center. He was offered by the Razorbacks in January. What is your impression of him? Yeah, 2 guys there that, as they grow, I'm sure Razorback fans are going to be watching after really closely.
No doubt.
State championship time now. So moving on to high school, the 1A and 2A games were played on Thursday, but then the AAA announced, hey, we're cutting off the rest of these games. We're going to be postponing them until later indefinitely, right? They were already playing those games in Hot Springs. What do you make of the decision? You've been around high school basketball for years. You've worked with kids as a coach. To see these kids, especially the seniors, not have a chance to go out with even the opportunity to win the state title that they worked so hard to get to. How hard is that? It's not just players, it's coaching staff and entire student bodies who are looking forward to this event and they don't get to play.
The entire community.
In January, I visited Little Rock's Joe T. Robinson High School. I was covering their 2019 state championship celebration. There in that gym, I met a kid dancing with the team. But this was no ordinary student. The better I got to know him, his path to that court, and the athletes who helped get him to it, the more I've learned. Michael Joe is extraordinary. This is his story.
Special. Webster's defines it as being distinguished by an unusual quality. One kid in Central Arkansas meets that criteria. A second meaning offered by the same dictionary, being held in particular esteem. Student athletes at one local high school deferred to the latter, translating those words into action in countless ways and on countless days, helping a boy who stands out fit in.
Michael Joe here is a high schooler with Down syndrome. You might not tie him to football players, thought of as the jocks or the jerks of the school. But at Joe T. Robinson, student athletes live out the golden rule.
Allowing MJ to snap that stereotype, go long, and score.
Maybe not actual touchdowns, but very real friendships.
They look at me because I'm their friends. That feels so good to me.
So around 4 months old, he got into heart failure. He was immediately scheduled for open heart surgery. It was a very scary time, and I was very nervous about him having open heart surgery. But once he was about 3 years old, he was in very good health. So we started him in public school.
I like the Robinson High School.
And a big reason why you might never expect.
As student and athletes, it makes me strong and powerful.
Some have known Michael Joe for as long as they can remember.
I've known Michael Joe since first grade at Chenal Elementary.
I've known Michael Joe since elementary school.
Come here, man. I first met Michael Joe when I was teaching physical education at Chenal Elementary.
And some have known him for much shorter.
3 or 4 years ago at lunch, he one random day just came over there and sat by me, and he asked me for some of my Oreos, so I gave him some.
But one thing's for sure, he always leaves an impression.
We've just been buddies ever since then.
Been best buds since.
We've been friends ever since.
Just bringing positive energy, just being a light in my life.
They're high school athletes, so these boys becoming his buddies might seem like a long shot.
Through movies and stuff like that, I was real nervous about when he was going to go into high school, how the popular and whatnot were going to treat him, especially because football.
When I was in high school, the football players didn't really mix with anybody but the football players.
The term they're looking for, but might not want to say, the J word.
Jocks.
Jocks.
The jock stereotype's overused.
But these senators lay down the law, prescribing what it means to be just that.
Even though we're classified as jocks, we have feelings too. We like being friends with everybody, and we're all nice people.
You just include him as one of us. Be friends with him.
Just like that.
That's not something that I thought would happen.
When I saw how inclusive that the Robinson High School football team and baseball team has done, it's amazing.
Do it again.
Proud that our kids make what's important important. We love one another, we look out for one another, and the kids have taken that to a whole nother level.
And like all real friendships, friendliness goes both ways.
He loves anything to do with Robinson. It's crazy because he loves to be a part of everything we do.
And I feel so much to the senators.
When baseball season starts, he'll be like, when's y'all's next game? And so I'll ask him when he's gonna be there. He'll be like, I'll be there. And then the next day I'll come back and he'll be like, good game last night. And then he'll go and tell everybody on that team that they did good.
If any of our sports teams are involved, he wants to be right in the middle of it. And the best part about it is that's where the kids want him.
Unlike most times in sports, this bond doesn't start on the gridiron, the diamond, the track, or the hardwood.
It starts when you're in the hallway.
They come down the hall.
And Michael Joe's always in the hall with a smile.
And they come down, I clap their hands.
High five, a fist bump.
And I say, go Senators.
It's not him going up and say, hey, give me a high five. It's them coming to him and saying, hey, Michael, give me 5.
He's the type of young man that brightens your day. You can have a bad day and you walk down the hallway and you see that big grin and it just makes you feel good.
And that love even extends to the cafeteria.
Senators and baseball players are really nice to me. I eat them at lunch.
The football team and the baseball team at Robinson High School ask him to have lunch with him every day.
It's great to have Michael Joe sitting with us at lunch. Us baseball players, we like to sit together, be a family, and Michael Joe wants to be a part of that family, so we just welcome him right in because we're all a family at Robinson.
He'll sit with one person for about 10 minutes, he'll get up, go somewhere else, and he'll constantly be switching throughout the lunch. And I get kind of upset when he leaves, but I know he'll come back the next day.
And Michael Joe didn't shy away from the girl table.
Especially with Natalie, knowing how good of a heart she has.
He came over beside me, sat beside me, and he asked me to be his friend, and I of course said yes. He would sit with me and my friends one day, and then he would go off to the baseball team, and then the coaches would welcome him just as he was any other student.
The athletes at baseball and football, they look at me because I'm their great friends.
He's good friends with them. It's just real heartwarming.
To see the acceptance of everyone, and Michael Joe's, he's welcome at our table any day he wants to be there.
MJ would go from joining his friend's table to joining their huddle in October.
This year with the Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and that's when they decided they would have the boys be honorary football captains.
That feels so good to me because I love to be a football captain.
He's willing to do whatever he thinks the team needs and maybe some more. He told me he wants to play.
He was really wanting to play, but we couldn't let that happen. We were going after the championship.
Who the champs? Who the champs? We the champs, baby!
I said, Michael Joe, you want to play? He said, man, I want to play, coach. Got to get a jersey. But my favorite part is he told me he's number 18 jersey, because he's 18. But then mid-year, we're going to have to switch to number 19 on his birthday. And so I love that. Love Michael Joe's ready to go, ready to get his pads.
The game where we had him as one of the honorary captains, we get ready to kick off, and his mom was down there, and game's fixing to start, and I'm got my play sheet out, and I look up, and there's Michael Joe right there. He's ready to go, ready to call plays.
He wasn't just on the field during games, he was on the court before.
At every school pep rally,
He'd be right in the middle of all the football players, just like if he was a player.
Michael Joe, whenever they put a song on, he gets out there front and center and just puts on a show. It's great to see him having fun, and we enjoy watching him have fun.
I'm pretty sure it made him very happy to be out there, just seeing him smile and laughing out there. He loved it, he really did.
That was grassroots. Nobody asked them to do it, they just did it. They don't say anything about it, they ask him to come and sit.
Through acceptance, athletes make an impact no tackle ever could.
The athletes, baseball and football, they're different because they're nice. They're nice to Michael Joe, they're genuine to all the kids with disabilities. They treat him no different from any other student in the building.
Making sure that every student matters here. There's not a hierarchy, and everybody that walks in those doors, family and welcome, and has something to bring to the table, and Michael Joe brings a lot to the table.
It feels good to myself because I'm confident.
Confident enough to chase a dream.
So do you want to know what I do for a living?
Not setting records in sports, but spinning records in music.
I mix my own music together to make it heavy and pop, part-time DJ. Hey, I am MJ, coming on a tour. Back here, this is where I get dressed and hang out with my band, the keyboard, my drums. I actually love to be famous.
For student athletes everywhere, colors on their uniform shape the image of their program. But at Joe T. Robinson, the goal that matters most is the rule they live out every day. Just treating a kid who's special in many more ways than one, the way they'd want to be treated.
Everybody's friends, we treat each other the same, and no matter where they come from or their background or anything.
Me personally, just being nice to somebody can take it a long ways. It doesn't matter who you are, I think. Being an athlete, you're supposed to be a leader and show people this is the right way to do it. You have younger kids looking up to you.
Just because they're Down syndrome doesn't mean they don't want to participate in the same activities that we do, and it's great to have them wanting to be a part of it, so we're going to do whatever we can to help them be a part of it and feel like they can do just as much as we can, and it's great to have them around.
You can't explain it. So much happiness knowing all of these athletes have great hearts, it just warms my heart because I don't have to worry.
No matter the situation, no matter who you come in contact with, you find a way to bless that person's day. 9 times out of 10, you're the one who actually receives the blessing from them. That couldn't be more true than interactions with Michael Joe.
Before I had Michael Joe, I've kind of thought it might be a scary place. The world would be a scary place to have a Down syndrome child or a child with a disability. It's proven to me how loving and caring this world really is, and he's had a great life so far.
And you realize that there's a lot of good human beings in this world, and I'm blessed to know one. His name's Michael Joe.
Great job by all the athletes at Joe T. Robinson. And having done this story, met his family, met the kids at the high school, they're doing something right, to say the least.